This is going to be a long video, I think. Please watch it all. It'll be nice if you watch it all and make it to the end. What's going on YouTube? 0088 here, and this is my review of The Last of Us Part 2.
There's a cost.
We could have killed you. Maybe you should have.
I've had to do a lot of thinking about this game. This game is a bit of a mad one. Like, okay, when I first heard about the leaks, but even before the leaks, there was like rumours of, you know, Neil Druckmann and all his SJW antics and all that stuff. And then the leaks came out. Some of the leaks were a bit exaggerated. There was stuff about Ellie dying at the end and all this kind of stuff. Joel gets killed by a huge buff transgender male into female person. So rightfully so, a ton of people went absolutely nuts, mainly because of the fact that Joel dies, but the way he dies, and apparently Ellie dies, and like she loses at the end, and people just weren't happy with the leaks. I wasn't happy with the leaks, you know. But after actually playing the game, and maybe the leaks were a good thing, because it warmed me up to a lot of ideas. I got spoiled on a lot in this game, and it warmed me up to a lot of ideas that I probably, if I'd saw fresh without knowing anything, I might have reacted in a different way. But I guess having time to think about it before playing it, and then playing it, was like, okay, so this is how they did it. And obviously I didn't buy the game myself. My birthday was on June 19, the same day the game came out, and my sister bought it for me for my birthday, so that was a nice, you know, coincidence for me there. I guess it kind of matches the game. The game was full of coincidences and stuff like that, but anyway, I'll get into that. So what did I think about The Last of Us Part 2? Obviously The Last of Us 1 was near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. Joel, the main protagonist, who we play as in the first game, obviously warmed up to a lot of people, meant a lot of things to different people, you know. My girlfriend actually bought me the first Last of Us game. I never bought a Last of Us game myself. My girlfriend bought me the first Last of Us game 7 years ago, and I enjoyed it, but I played it like once and then I forgot about it. I never really played the multiplayer. Then I played it again just like literally a month before the new one came out. And so you can see already that my connection to Joel might not be as much as most people, so that might affect the way I see things in this review. At the end of the day, I still had a connection to Joel. I still like Joel. I played it recently, just before I played the second game, which is probably why a lot of people remember Joel so well, because I'm sure a ton of people played the first game recently. So I can understand why some people are having, you know, these reactions to certain decisions Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog made with the new game, you know. But the game definitely has flaws. Like, is it as bad as people have been saying? I don't think so. Like, people have been saying it's absolute trash, like it's Game of Thrones Season 8, Star Wars The Last Jedi. I don't think it's that bad, but I can see where there is definitely bad in it. But I think there's also a lot of good stuff in it. I think this game wasn't really telling a story. It was more giving you themes and ideas, and it was being philosophical with us. And I feel like a lot of people didn't really want philosophy. They wanted a good game with a decent story. But then Neil Druckmann probably saw The Last of Us as, wow, like, we made such an impact last time. We got to go all out this time with a crazy, super philosophical Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola, like epic piece or something like that. But yeah, he might have overstepped his, he might have got a bit too, you know, up his own arse with it, and people just weren't feeling it. But you know what? I was feeling what he was trying to do. He might not have executed it as good as he could have, but I was feeling what he was trying to do. But anyway, let's get into the nitty gritty. That was just my overall feelings on the game. But let me get into the details of why I don't think this game is that bad. I'm conflicted on it. I've been listening to so many different reviews and so many opinions. I've heard lots of positive opinions. I've heard lots of negative opinions. And just like my political stances, I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, I just feel like I'm centre, you know, of this whole Last of Us 2 debate. And I'll get into why. This is going to be a long video, I think. Please watch it all. It'll be nice if you watch it all and make it to the end. Anyway, problems most people had with the game. Joel's death. A lot of people hated Joel's death. People say it was too soon in the game. It was just for shock value, it was not earned, or it wasn't respectable to the character. It was how it was done, or they made him seem dumber. All these kind of things people have said, and I'm just like, you know what, nah man. Like, you know, I actually think Joel's death was pretty much perfect. The only problem I have with Joel's death was actually not even his death itself, is what they did after, where they let Ellie and Tommy go. That is dumb. That is just, I don't care if you're trying to make Abby out as this, like, you know, good person. That was like, at the end of the game, she was like, we let you go and you wasted it. Like that's bullshit, man. That's bullshit. I don't care. Like, that is the most arrogant thing I think I've ever heard a character say. We let you go, and you. That sounds like a villain. That's what a villain would say. You know, it's almost like she let Ellie go as like a form of torture or something. Like, and she's just like rubbing it in her face. We let you go, and you wasted it. Like, trying to say as if she did Ellie a favour by letting her go after she just killed the only person that mattered to her. After Ellie literally said to their face, I'm gonna fucking kill you, you know, I'm gonna kill you, you're all dead, you know, like, Ellie said that shit, and then now Abby's confused about why all her people are dead and that? What the fuck is that? Like, it's so dumb. She should have killed Ellie off, she should have killed Tommy off, you know. Now onto the points of Joel's death where I didn't have a problem with. People say he didn't deserve that kind of death. He didn't deserve to be tortured like that. So, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, what does Joel deserve? Like, in the first game, he did a lot of reprehensible things we haven't seen before he met Ellie. And even after he met Ellie, obviously, like, he was protecting her and stuff. But at the end of the game, he, like, took Ellie's agency away from her, and he saved her life, which is probably the right thing he did, I guess, for him. And it made sense, and a lot of people agree with it, some people don't. I think I agree with it, but some people have said that Joel deserves his death because of the way he died, because of what he did. No, I don't think he deserves that death. Nobody deserves that death unless they did something absolutely reprehensible, which I don't think Joel, from what we've seen, has done. I don't think him breaking into the Fireflies aren't very nice people anyway. They might be good, going for a good cause, but they're not really going about it in a nice way. And, you know, saving Ellie doesn't seem like a horrible thing he did, and he was defending himself against Abby's dad, really. But anyway, does Joel deserve that death? No. Neither did Jesse, neither did Mel, maybe, neither did Owen. Like, I don't think everybody's a horrible person, but nobody deserves to really go out in a horrible way like that, really. No, that's just the Last of Us universe. Joel's death it just shows you nobody is special. Not even Joel, who's the main character. There's no special way someone has to go out. You can't go out with magical music and everything's perfect like a dream. Neil Druckmann's not trying to give you that kind of world. He's giving you a world where people gone, bang, just like that. Someone that you've known for years has just gone like that, out of nowhere, out of the blue. And I completely understand the decision, and I actually like the decision. I like the way Joel went out, because it just showed you that anything can happen at any time. So I don't get all these things that people are well upset about. Like, and then the other thing of Joel being dumb. Yeah, he was definitely dumber than he was in the previous game. Like, Joel, this is the same Joel that was like, Ellie was like, oh my god, should we stop and check if he's okay? And Joel just like, nah, he's fine. And he just runs the motherfucker over. So how is that Joel gone to this Joel where he's just walking around, going to a new camp with Abby, with all these people he's never met before? Tommy's freely giving away social security number and where they live and their address. And Joel was just like, you guys didn't even know me, even though I just told you my name. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, look, let me explain why I think that part was passable. It may not be perfect, but it's passable. All you have to say is, look, Joel's been in Jackson for 4 years. He's been with Ellie ever since even before the game ended, even before he made that dark decision that he made, or maybe dark decision, I don't know, even before he made that decision in Last of Us Part 1, he was softening to Ellie already. He was being a softer person. Even with Henry and Sam, he was starting to get... Obviously, the first time you saw Henry... Was it Henry or Sam? I can't remember which one's which now. He was weighing his face in. But then he got to know them. He's warming to them. He's not everyone's an enemy in this world, you know. Ellie softened Joel's heart, basically. And Jackson softened it even more. And think about it. They've been going on patrols. If you read the patrol books, Joel's been going on patrols for years and years with Tommy, and you know, saving people, finding people, and all this kind of crap. So obviously he's going to warm up. He's going to start trusting people a bit more. Neil Druckmann himself said he looked at Abby, he saw she was a young girl, and he saw that they weren't hunters, you know. I guess there's a specific kind of people that, you know, will take you out in Last of Us universe. I get it, he should have been more cautious, but I can buy that he's softened up and he wasn't on his guard like he used to be. Jackson softened him up. Some people have argued, oh, but he's had 20 years of being in the apocalypse. Why does 5 years soften you up? Listen, I've heard people be in marriages for 20 years. People have been in marriages for 25 years, right? And in the last 5 years, the wife or the husband completely changes, and then they get a divorce, and then that's how it ends. It just happens like that sometimes. You could be the one way for 20 years, and then 5 years you just change like that because something dramatically has happened in your life. Something dramatic happened in Joel's life. He met Ellie. That was dramatic for him. That was a replacement of Sarah. He became the person he was before all those 20 years. Those 20 years were kind of erased for him, you know? So I can completely buy the idea that Joel's got a bit softer. He's not as, you know, cautious as he used to be. And I think that's actually good character development. I can see it in the game. You don't even need to see the build-up. The build-up's kind of in the game, the flashbacks. I can see it. So I don't really get all these complaints. I think people just don't like the fact Joel died. You know, like, people say, I don't mind Joel dying. I just don't like the way he went out. He's not going to go out in a bang of fireworks. This is The Last of Us, man. Like, the way he died just really just grounds the game for me. That's not even the problem. I have problems with this game, but the way he died is definitely not one of them. Joel's death isn't one of them. I think they did all that perfectly. I think Joel's death in relation to Abby is a problem because it makes us not like Abby in the way they've, you know, paced the game and structured the game. Kind of fucked Abby up heavily. But Joel's death, not a problem. Now, I think this is a good time to go into the plot and the structure, the whole revenge plot. Is the whole revenge idea done? Look, the last game had a very simple plot, you know. The last game had a plot of protect the cure and cure the whole world, and it didn't work out in the end. Game 2 has the plot of revenge. I want to avenge the most dear person to my heart, you know. And again, back to Joel's death, like this, for this plot to work, you kind of needed someone like Joel to die. Joel was the only person that can make this plot work. You couldn't have Dina die. I've seen some people say, this game would have been better if we saved Joel, but killed Dina. And I thought that's what it was going to be for a while. That's how the trailers kind of made it look. But I'm glad it wasn't like that, because Dina, who gives a fuck about Dina, man? Do you care about Dina? That's exactly why you wanted it to be about that, because you don't give a fuck about Dina. Dina's, if she had died, we've just met her. Like, by about 5 minutes in, we'll be bored. We'll be enjoying the gameplay and stuff, but we'll be like, I don't care about Dina, man. When Joel died, we wanted to fucking rip Abby's throat out. We were Ellie. We seeing Joel die through Ellie's eyes. We understood exactly what Ellie was feeling, because we've known Joel. We've known Joel even longer than Ellie's known Joel, you know, technically. So, yeah, so obviously that makes perfect sense why you would base a revenge plot on someone like as important as Joel. So, yeah, anyway, the idea of a revenge plot, yes, it's overdone. We've seen a revenge plot countless times, probably done better. Though some people have said this is probably more about forgiveness than revenge, if you see the end of the game, but I don't know. I'll go into that a bit later when I go into more of the plot and the situation of Abby and everything. So, what did I like about the plot? I think, obviously, the scenes, the cinematography, the directing, the acting, the voice acting, all of that was done top tier level. Like just when you first play as Abby and you see the WLF stadium and everything, like, it just looks whoa. Like you're walking through and you see all this whole, like, just the way it's, all that kind of stuff is set up is amazing. The world building is amazing. I love it. Seeing the scars, the whistling, all that kind of stuff is great. Jackson was nice, you know. The graphics obviously are out of this world. The gameplay is a bit old school, but it is what it is. It's still serviceable, you know. But yeah, like there's so much good stuff in this game. But also in terms of the story, what I liked, I actually liked Joel's death because I've gone through that. I can't think of it. I didn't like Abby. I didn't like playing as Abby. Like when we had to play as Abby, that was like, oh man, I don't want to play as this bitch. Like you've seen people's reaction and stuff to playing as Abby. Hated it. So what was the problem with Abby? The problem with Abby was you're making us play as this person and she's brutally killed Joel. Even if we've had time to, you know, go through all this revenge plot with Ellie, and then when we're probably warming up, when we're probably not warming up, so I haven't seen anything about Abby, but when we're probably, you know, starting to relax a bit after Joel's death has relaxed in our mind, playing as Ellie, we've taken some of our anger out on these unexpected WLF members that probably had nothing to do with it. We're relaxed a bit. Then you have Abby bust in the theatre and absolutely shoot Jesse in the fucking face. We just started to like Jesse. You're like, what the fuck are you doing, naughty dog? And but that was a cool death again. Some people were pissed off about Jesse's death. I thought that was awesome. I was like, whoa! Like, not because I like to be shocked or my expectations subverted. It's because I saw it as, wow, a character that is important as Jesse. You know, he's not that important as a side character, but he's quite important. He's been fleshed out, you know, quite a bit. You know, so to have him killed off just like that, boom, was shocking to me. Like obviously Manny's death later on was similar, but the thing with Manny's death is that a lot of people were happy about that. That kind of shocked me. I kind of like, even though he was a prick, he's like a Neil Druckmann lookalike arsehole that says pendejo all the time and spat on Joel's body. And I'm like, fuck you, Manny, man. I want to make sure I kill you as well as Abby. That's what I felt when I first saw him. But then Manny later on, he warmed up a little bit. Anyway, let me not go on a tangent about Manny. But yeah, his death was like, whoa, like people just die like that, you know, and that's how it probably is. Why is it okay for all these, you know, NPC characters to just get killed off by a random gunshot, but not the main characters? It's like people always cry and complain about plot armor all the damn time, but when a character gets killed off, just like any other NPC, suddenly it's a problem. It doesn't make no sense what you're not saying. But yeah, I like the way people just die cold death just like that, because that's the world they live in, man. This ain't no Sesame Street shit, man. This is like The Last of Us, a fucked up world. Anyway, the problem with Abby, now, you can't, unless you have top tier writing ability, you can't introduce a character that has just killed off a character we absolutely love and hold dear to our hearts, and you're going to show being amazing in flashbacks as well. You can't have that character come in and we have to now see a whole POV of that character, whether it's gaming or watching a season. It's like starting a season, it's like having a whole season of The Last of Us with one character, and then it ends with Abby killing that character. Then we have a whole season of Abby's backstory before she does it. It's like, no. What you should have done is probably made 3 games with this and had Last of Us Part 1, that happened. Then Last of Us Part 2, we play as Abby and Ellie, and maybe they know each other, maybe they don't, I don't know, but you play as young Abby, you go through everything, you meet her dad, and then Last of Us 2 ends with, oh my god, her dad is the surgeon? That's supposed to, from the last game? But we just got to know her dad is amazing, we didn't see this coming, you know? And then suddenly Joel kills the dad, but maybe the dad's probably the best character in the game. He might even be written better than Joel was, you know? Like, who knows? And then he's dead, and we see Joel, you bastard, no, that was me that did that. That is so much better. How do they not do it like that? It's mad. Anyway, and so then you have like Abby, now you're feeling what Abby's feeling properly, and then you start the third game, or you end the second game the way the third game starts, and then it ends on a cliffhanger like that. And in 2 years, 3 years down the line, not 7 years, because Naughty Dog would have been pre-planning this, so it could come out in a year maybe, like Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 remake. So Last of Us Part 3 comes out, and then we have the revenge plot. And now we're feeling, now we're where you want us to be with Abby and Ellie. Now we don't know who to side with. Now everybody's like, pick a side. It's almost like Captain America Civil War. Who do you side with? Team Tony or Team Cap? Who do you side with? Team Ellie or Team Abby? Right now we're just Team Ellie. Now maybe that was the intention. We were supposed to be Team Ellie, and then we're supposed to just we don't have to like Abby. We're supposed to understand where Abby comes from. And we all managed to understand where Abby comes from, but the game didn't play it as you're not supposed to like. You don't have to like Abby. You're supposed to understand where she's coming from. It didn't play it like that because the way it was trying to manipulate us. It was trying to manipulate us with the whole Abby petting the dog that we just killed, and we're supposed to feel bad about it. We're supposed to like Manny. It didn't really work out. I liked Manny. He's alright. But we're supposed to like Manny. Supposed to probably like Nora, like Mel, like Owen. Owen is not too bad as well, but Owen was against. I think the reason why I like Owen was because he was against Abby's whole revenge thing. He wasn't really happy with it, so that made me respect Owen a little bit. But anyway, and Owen was kind of Abby's motivation. Abby needed to get to where Owen was, and Ellie needs to get where Abby was of forgiveness. Well, until Ellie killed Mel and Owen, and then she suddenly wanted to kill Dina, who's pregnant. It's all confusing mess. Anyway, yeah, it was manipulative with all like the zebra and trying to show Abby's dad is this happy-go-lucky, dull-eyed, bright-eyed, optimistic doctor that's going to save the world. It was cheesy as fuck. It didn't work. People clearly didn't buy it. So do you want us to like Abby, Naughty Dog, or do you want us just to understand Abby? Because the way you're presenting it is like you want us to like her, and if you're trying to put Abby down our throats, people are just going to spit her back out. It's not going to work like that. So what you should have done is give us little snippets. If you had to do it this structure, give us little snippets of Abby, slowly, while playing as Ellie at the same time. The game wouldn't seem as long then, like having flashbacks and doing flashbacks. I couldn't stand that shit. But yeah, like, it was too much to play as Abby for that long. Just didn't care about her story, and Lev and Yara and all this crap. I didn't care. I thought Isaac was pretty cool though. Isaac was pretty badass. It was like rare to see a black dude leading such a big organisation like the WLF. In fact, it was rare to see any kind of dude. Somehow in this post-apocalyptic world, it's all women that like rule everything. The leader of the Scars was a woman, though they interpreted her message wrong. The leader of of Jackson is not Tommy, but Tommy's wife. The leader of the Fireflies was a woman. Marlene, what is this? So it was nice to see a dude at least leading something in fucking this universe. It's such a weird universe with all the female soldiers and stuff. And this makes me touch into Lev's storyline. I thought Lev's storyline was a bit silly to me. Not because he's trans, but just the whole like structure of Lev's storyline just seems weird, like forced to me. Anyway, I'll get into that later. So yeah, Abby. That's why we didn't like Abby, man. Like, and then, do you know what I thought when we got to the is it Santa Barbara? When we got to that part of the game, it started to make me think. Okay, let's just get. I already saw a spoiler about what Ellie does at the end, so that kind of ruined it for me. But I just wanted to see how it plays out. And then when I was expecting Abby to be like nearly getting away, looking as big as Hulk as possible. She fucked up all these guys, about to get away with Lev. But then we see her hanging, like this. She's lost all her muscles. Her hair is all jacked up, cut. Like Lev is all fucked up. She's malnourished. She's sunburnt. Oh, you're really trying to make me feel sorry for her, Naughty Dog. No wonder. People have said, if you really wanted to kill Abby at that point, and like, it's done. Look at her. She's gone through so much. Well, yeah, that's you can't introduce a new bad guy that's got no build up whatsoever, and then have us buy that she's gone through so much, so that we don't want to like hurt her anymore. Even Ellie was looking at her like, oh, what the fuck is this, man? Ellie wanted to get on her boat and like, she's already fucked. But then she had the flash of Joel, and then she was like, actually, no, what am I doing? I came all this way. I'm gonna kill her, fam. So that was highly manipulative. I didn't buy that whole scenario. It did make me feel sorry for Abby just looking at her like that. But at the same time, when the fight started, I was like, nah, fuck this, because at the end of the day, it just felt forced. It felt like we need to put her into a really dire situation, so then people feel sorry for her at the end. Ellie and Abby had gone through so much. Abby didn't go through shit. What happened to Abby had nothing to do with Ellie or consequences of revenge. That could have happened to Abby if she was the nicest person in the world. You know, that could have happened to Abby if she was the meanest person in the world. It had nothing, like, people can say, oh, it was karma, or, you know, the world using karma on her, or whatever, but no, it's bullshit. If it was Abby getting Manny, Mel, Owen, all of them WLF members killed, and Isaac was torturing her like that because she got them killed because of her obsession with revenge, that I could buy. Then I could feel like, okay, Abby's getting her just desserts for what happened to her. I mean, for what she did, you know, to Joel. This is a result of her going out of her way. That, the Rattlers and Abby becoming all fucked up like that had nothing to do with Joel. So why should I feel sorry for her for getting herself into that mess, you know? So rightfully so, I understand why people still felt like, oh, Ellie should have probably killed her at that point. But I guess that's not the point, which we'll get to in a bit. I think it's time I go through the characters, right? And so Ellie's changed a lot since the first game. She's darker. Like Angry Joe pointed out, she didn't take the PSP when younger Ellie would have jacked that PSP. Obviously, she's got a revenge mission. She's lost Joel. She's trying to avenge Joel, but she's also trying to figure out, you know, how to forgive Joel for what he did to her and all this kind of stuff. And this, it was like it's like Abby took that away from her, and the ending was so powerful. I thought the ending was really powerful with the flashback of Joel and Ellie on the porch, because that really showed you even more what Ellie was fighting for. And some people, and I kind of agree, maybe we should have seen that first, because it would have been like, wow, you took that opportunity away from me to you know, reconcile with Joel. That's even more anger, you know. Like that kind of made me more angry at Abby, to be fair. I was like, why did you let this bitch go? After seeing that scene of Joel tearing up and that, like, made me tear up. That's probably the only time I really teared up during this whole thing. Was Ellie letting Abby go at the end earned? Did it make sense? Yes and no, because the story, what they're trying to make us, this is why I don't think it really makes too much sense, because what they're trying to make us believe is that Ellie's gone through all this darkness, gone through all these kills, you know, like she's killed hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's just got too much. She got to Nora, she got to Mel, you know, she got to Owen, and she's like hyperventilating, like, I can't believe I just done this. Like, even the Nora death, she was like, she tortured Nora, and she was like, that's not me. I mean, I guess you can kind of buy it, because you've never really seen her torture anyone before. Like, I mean, she smashed in David's face with the axe in the first game, but like that guy was like a pedo or something. Like, so, you know, that was probably that was justified. Whereas Nora, like, Nora literally rubbed it in her face, like, yeah, we killed Joel, yeah, you know, like Ellie kind of had every right to. I don't know why Ellie's feeling bad about it. It doesn't make sense to me. I'll tell you, because she was literally making jokes about torture not long ago. She said to Dina, just give me 5 minutes with a knife and I'll get information out of people. And then you want me to believe that this girl's having all this traumatic. This girl's killing so many people. She killed those Rattler guys like it was nothing. Like, just because they were bad. I just don't buy the idea that suddenly Ellie can't kill Abby after she's killed hundreds upon hundreds of people freely. You know, like, she has choices to not kill them, and she does it anyway. And now, Abby, you don't want to kill the main reason for all your grief and stress. You're not going to do it. And the only way I'm buying that is if you're trying to tell me that, okay, the reason why she didn't kill Abby is because she's just tired. Like, she's tired of this cycle of revenge. She's tired of fighting, and she just doesn't feel it anymore. Like, it's just, she's done, you know. But at that point, she wasn't done. She went all that way from. You don't leave your wife or your girlfriend and your kid. You don't leave them and travel all that distance and go kill all those people for you to get to Abby and just be like, I'm tired now. Just because you saw her get sunburned. It just seemed a bit mad to me. I don't know how I feel, but I feel like we should have had a choice with the ending. I feel like from the moment Tommy came to the house and he said, we found Abby, like, we know where she is, and Ellie at that point should have had a decision: go get Abby or let it go. That would have been brilliant, because then the player, this would be amazing, the player would pick to go get Abby, right? You've picked, yeah, I'm gonna go kill the bitch. You picked it before you saw that scene with Abby and Rattlers. You go to Santa Barbara, kill her right there, you kill her on that boat scene, you kill her like there. And then Ellie comes home, finger missing, her finger's missing, and the exact same scene, you know, Dina's gone, JJ's gone, and you're just like, whoa. And then she's just playing the guitar, and she got the revenge, but now she's lost the last memory of Joel. There you go, revenge, bad. But then it actually makes sense, you know. Now, and then the player had to make that decision as well. You know, this would have been perfect if this was a trilogy and this was the last game and you guys can pick which was the real ending and there's no more Last of Us games. But you know, they want to make Last of Us 3, which they've ruined. This would have been a perfect ending. This definitely needed a game before this anyway. Or you can have the choice to not go for revenge. Tommy's pissed at you, but you're happy with Dina. You have Dina. You're not alone. Like Ellie's worst fear was to be alone, and then the gamers will feel it. Then the gamers, they're all saying, "Why can't we kill Abby? I want to kill Abby. Let me kill Abby. Why can't I kill Abby? You went all this way and you didn't kill Abby." All the gamers saying that would have seen what killing Abby has caused. Would have seen what choosing to go when Tommy said caused, you know. And then they would have seen the other ending where she's happy with Dina. And that would have really knocked it into the people's heads about whatever message you're trying to get, because I'm pretty sure everybody knows revenge isn't good, you know. But yeah, like there's so much good stuff in this, like not just the presentation and everything, but even the writing, in Neil Druckmann's writing, there is some good stuff in this. Did SJWism ruin some things? A little bit, tiny bit, but it's all side minor stuff. You know, I'll get into that a bit later. There was a lot of plot armor here and there. Even though I said I like the way it's like, it was a bit conflicting because they were killing off characters left and right who were important, and they were killing off like that, like as if they didn't have plot armor. But a lot of times they did have plot armor. Like Abby was saved by Joel, like randomly, like bumped into Joel randomly. What are the chances? Ellie dropping her map for Abby to find, and all this stupid plot conveniences and all this kind of stuff. Tommy miraculously surviving Abby's shot to the head. There's just so many, and just the biggest one that is the whole catalyst of this whole story. If you're gonna have characters, let Ellie and Tommy go. You have to really write the meaning of that. You can't just say, "Oh, we're good. We're not. If we kill them too, we're just as bad as Joel." No. That was actually smart. He killed Marlene and the Fireflies that he could for a reason. So they wouldn't. He literally says it. He says it. "You'll just come after us." Bang, and he kills her. Like that's literally, like, Joel's not a bad person. He just did what he had to do to survive, and that's what. Saying nobody's going to blame Abby for killing Ellie and Tommy because they're doing what they have to do. No one's going to be like, "You should have left them alive." Everybody understands that logic. You know, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Even the bit where Dina and Ellie were captured again, like there was a part where they were arguing of whether they should leave her alive or not. I was like, what? Just kill her. Just kill them. Clearly, they've killed half half of your friends, like at least your soldiers and the nameless soldiers, when they're not nameless, they'll be screaming each other's names. Kelly, Brianna, James, Henry. They'll be screaming each other's names randomly. That was a bit annoying. But yeah, there was just so many like, plot conveniences and contrivances, and like there was so much good in this game, but too much bad. It's very, ironically, Neil Druckmann wanted people to either hate this game or love this game, but the story made it kind of mediocre. The story, because the story is such the biggest focus, it made the entire game mediocre because the story was the number one focus. If the gameplay was like more free and more innovative and more creative and more, allowing the player to have a bit more control, maybe the game would have been a lot higher. But because the gameplay is so structured around the story, apart from killing thousands of people, which goes against the story, but yeah, since the gameplay is so structured around the story, it kind of, trickles down and ruins the rest of the game. So it makes the whole game mediocre. The graphics and the actual combat gameplay is what makes it fun, but the exploration gameplay, and the story brings it down. I'll get into that a bit later. But yeah, that was just Ellie I've been talking about. That's mad. This video is going to be long. Abby's characterization. I've already gone into what I thought of Abby, Abby's plot and how they used her. They fucked up by letting us hate her straight away because they didn't have the skill to bring her back up. You don't, even in 25 hours, you don't have the skill to make us like her. You done fucked up, I'm going to say something really, really messed up now that I don't know, people might call me sexist or something, but I feel like if you're going to do a story where you're going to kill off a main character and you're going to make us absolutely detest the person that does it, you should probably not make her this cartoony, muscular, Arnold Schwarzenegger, person that already looks annoying. Her face looks annoying. Like, you should have probably made a Solid Snake type character, or somebody that's so hard to hate. I don't know, someone just super cool. Abby's not cool. She's far from cool, And yeah, I get it. Like she's more of a human, But like, if you're gonna kill off a main character, you've got to make the person that does it super cool and super badass, and making her She-Hulk that no one's ever seen before. I don't know, it's like you're trying to play this game, it's like you're trying to write the story on hard mode for yourself, Neil Druckmann. I don't know why you picked the most unlikable looking person to do the most unlikable thing and then make people play as this person for 15 hours. It's just kind of mad. But anyway, her characterization is okay. I like that she had flaws. She's not a Mary Sue like Rey from Star Wars. She has flaws. She's got a fear of heights. She's a bit of a twat, and people know she's a bit of a twat. She's trying to do better with Lev and Yara, but I thought that was a bit overdone. And a relationship with Owen was interesting. There was a lot of fire and passion there. I didn't have a problem with the sex scene. It was overblown as all hell. I mean, yeah, maybe because I follow a lot of, female bodybuilders on Instagram and stuff like that. So I've seen a lot of female bodybuilders, so I'm not freaked out by that image. But I can understand what other people might be, of like a guy sleeping with someone more muscular than he is and she's female or whatever, I don't know. But that sex scene didn't bother me. It served the story. It showed you that Owen's a cheater and that he's cheating on Mel. Though at the time, he was about to run away from Mel anyway, so I feel like he'd already left her in his head, It didn't, because Mel just shows up and he didn't expect her to show up. So it was a bit, melodramatic and soap opera-y, but that's the story, innit? So Abby's story wasn't bad, it's just, we just don't like her, and her character's pretty bland. There's nothing really interesting about her. But what I did love about Abby's story was just the world building, seeing the scars, WLF, seeing Isaac. I liked seeing more of the Last of Us universe through Abby's eyes. That was fun. But apart from that, Abby herself was, I'll be happy never to play as her ever again. If we see her in a sequel, there's not even a little urge that wants to play as her again. But I would have liked to play as Joel again. Like, seeing Joel with the long little mullet and these new graphics, it would have been fun to play as Joel, even if it was a short part. But we never got that chance. That's probably another bad thing I don't like about Joel's death. Yara and Lev, I'm going to talk about these two together. Now, Yara's fine, but Lev, obviously he's trans and that was the whole motivation of his plot. He's escaped from the scars. You know, his mother is getting punished severely for it. His sister has got her wings clipped for it. That was a cool scene. You know, there's this religious group that doesn't believe in transgenderism, I guess. But they never really, they're very subtle about it, which is good, but at the same time, you don't really understand what they didn't like, because Lev made it out like he cut his hair and they were mad about that. Was there more to it? Are they mad that Lev is actually trying to refer to himself as a boy? But they didn't really go into that. They just said he cut his hair, which seems really silly to me, because at the end of the game, Lev's hair is growing, you know, like a girl. And I've seen some of the scars. Look at the scars. Some of them have, the female, especially the black ladies, they have short hair as well, just like Lev had. So why couldn't Lev at least cut it like that to save, you know, his mum, you know, going through severe torture and punishment and later on dying? And if that's all they're bothered about, the fact that Lev shaved his head and trying to be like a boy so he doesn't have to get married to one of the Scar elder members or whatever. So this is a problem I had with Lev's story. I feel like Lev's story would have been far more powerful had there not been any female Scar soldiers. Like, imagine the women are meant to be at home, and they're very traditional, like old school, meant to be at home cooking, and they're not allowed to fight. They have to have their hair very long, and if they don't have long hair, they have to wear wigs or something, and just make it extreme like that. And Lev obviously doesn't want to be like that. He wants to be a soldier like his brother. Yara should have been a boy. Lev looks up to his brother and be like, I want to be a soldier like my brother. I don't want to marry no elders and all that. And not just that. Obviously, he's still trans. He doesn't just want to be a soldier. He wants to be a boy. You know, and that would have been more interesting than you're basically losing the only group you have. You're losing your mother. You'll get your mother punished. You know, your sister's in danger, severe danger. She dies because of this. Just so you can appear as a boy within your group. They didn't really touch on it. What I'm trying to say is they didn't really touch on the transgender issue much. They were trying to make it out as if he couldn't be a soldier. You know, when there's so many female soldiers. That's just silly to me. There should have been no female soldiers. They're not. I would have bought Lev's storyline a hell of a lot more. But anyway, apart from that, Yara was annoying in the sense that I feel like I get that Abby's storyline was just for her character growth with Lev, and we're just going to see more of that. But it was just such a waste of time to go all that way to get all this like medicals, nearly die, fight the most horrific infected we've ever seen, and get the medicine back to Yara only for her to get killed off later on. It's like, why are you wasting my time? I mean, I get it. Like, it happened with Joel and Ellie. You went all that way for Joel just to take her out. It happened with Ellie in this game. Ellie went all that way just to not kill Abby, which is, people don't like that. They don't. But that's what I mean. If you're going to do a reverse plot where you do the whole plot and at the end you don't actually complete the mission, just like the first game, you have to tell an impeccable story with impeccable characters in that time space, you know. They didn't do that with Yara, I felt. So Yara's story was kind of like, oh, he wasted my time. When she died, I was just like, wait, I did all that for you to just die? If you could watch when I was playing, I couldn't stream it, bad internet anyway. And obviously Ellie's one didn't work for some people with her letting Abby go at the end. But Joel's one worked because it was such impeccable storytelling. It was something that we believed he would do. Whereas Ellie's one, we believe she would let Abby go, but not in those circumstances. Not when she has it right in front of her. She's done so much and she's killed thousands. It just didn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, let me not go back on that. Dina was okay. She's very bland. She was just literally a girlfriend to Ellie. Nothing that special. Literally, I think it's kind of funny. I feel like these critics, yeah, if Ellie was a boy, if Ellie was a man, and Dina was his girlfriend, male, let's call him Elvis. If Elvis had Dina I feel like people would be so pissed at the way they've done Dina, be like, oh my god, Dina's just a girlfriend, she's nothing special, she doesn't do anything. This is how they represent women, but because Ellie's there, like, no one's complaining about how shitty Dina's characterization was. She's just there. There's nothing special about Dina. But then so is Jesse. There's everybody, every side character is very minor in this. Though Tommy's sniper fight was epic. Like, that was great. Jesse, I thought Jesse was really cool. You know, I felt like they used him as a sperm donor a bit, but I thought he was pretty fun. I liked his voice acting. I liked the way he sounded, and he just seemed like a cool guy. I was sad when he went. Like, Jesse's a cool character. One of my favourites, actually. Like, the only male character that had anything to really do apart from Tommy and stuff, you know. It'd be nice to have played as Tommy as well. Like, I liked Owen. Yeah, Owen was okay. Emily I thought was really interesting, though she didn't get to do much. Half of you probably don't even know who the fuck Emily is. Emily was the woman that said, I want to clip her wings to Yara. She seemed really scary. I thought for the longest time she was the woman that all the Scars were worshipping, but it turns out this woman was from years ago, and she started the Scars, and they weren't like how violent they are now or something. But see, that's what I mean. Like, they kept building up this woman, and then we had nothing about her. It was just done. Like, there was so many like plot threads started and just not cared about towards the end. Like the whole Ellie being able to breathe and breaking her gas mask and stuff like that. And like Dina was like really like, whoa, you can breathe. Like, it was a massive thing for Dina to find out that Ellie was immune. And then later on, it's more about Dina's pregnancy. Fuck Ellie's immunity. That's out the window. Dina's pregnancy is way more important. It's not like every other woman can get pregnant, and Ellie's immunity isn't special. You know, like I think that was a bit more important to talk about. But anyway, that was done. So that they started that out, but then it didn't matter. You know, like, I don't know. Maybe they'll talk about that in part 3 if they make one. God, I don't know how that's gonna do. Yeah, and I thought Isaac was cool. But anyway. That's it for the characters. Things I liked, even though I didn't like playing as Abby, I didn't like having to fight Ellie towards the end. But actually, I liked that fight. That fight was fun. But at first, like most everyone did, I let Ellie kill me numerous times. I was like, yes, done. That's it. She got her revenge. I'm happy. But then, when you actually have to fight Ellie, was the concept of it, of fighting this character that you've controlled since the first game and seeing her through another person's eyes, was really kind of epic. It kind of reminded me of when I was riding, but you weren't fighting Snake, you were fighting alongside Snake in Metal Gear Solid 2, and just seeing Snake be all, I was like, that's how I play, that's me. I don't know, there was something cool about seeing Ellie like not being controlled by me, and just seeing, okay, so this is how Ellie would move. Like, she was planting all these bombs, and that was really cool. I liked that. Like, I didn't like controlling Abby, like at that point beating the shit out of Ellie, but I liked seeing Ellie do her little tactics and sneak around. She was tough. I was like, man, this bitch is tough. Like, and then same thing with Tommy. I liked that we were getting sniped, and we were like, who the fuck is this guy? Man, he's like, who the fuck is this guy? We're like, he took out all my team. And then I was like, wow, this guy's really good. At first I thought it would be Lev for some reason, and Lev couldn't see us, but I was like, that's stupid. Lev could see. I was like, who the fuck is sniping us? And then when I got closer, I was like, wait a minute, that's Tommy. I was like, this is sick, this is Tommy. Yes, but I was like, oh man, I don't want to fuck it. Every time I fought Ellie or Tommy, I was like, nah man, I don't want to fuck these guys up. And I wanted to kind of lose. I was like, damn, Tommy took Manny out. I actually felt a bit bad. I actually felt like, okay, I can imagine what Abby might be feeling here, you know. But then someone pointed out, I watched a review, they pointed out that and I have the same problem. These character deaths, even though I've loved them and I loved how fast and snappy they were and shocking, and like, this is the world we live in, like, you can just, it doesn't matter how important you are, it doesn't matter how long I've known you, you can just die just like that, you know. So, but the only thing I didn't like was that after they die, they don't get much of anything, you know. Like, they don't get talked about. They don't really go on it, they don't really talk about it, they don't really reflect. They don't reflect on Jesse's death. They don't reflect on, Abby doesn't reflect on Owen or Mel, or they just die and then they just move on, like, to the next thing. I get they're trying to move it along, the plot along, but like, if you want us to feel what Abby's feeling, you got to at least show it. The only death Abby reflected on was her dad's. You know, she didn't really care about Owen, it seemed like. She didn't really care about Mel. She didn't really care about Manny. I was waiting for Abby to be upset about Manny, but she's just talking about Lev and Yara and stuff. I was like, what the fuck? You know, like, that's really bad. Like, that was really bad. Like, we couldn't reflect. And same with Ellie. She didn't reflect on Jesse much at all, you know. People were complaining about Abby saying, good. It makes sense. Ellie just killed Mel, you know. And she probably should have killed both Ellie and Dina and not listened to Lev, because, like, who's left? I guess the only person that was left was Tommy, but she'd already shot Tommy and crippled him. What's Tommy going to do? You know, Tommy can't find them. So, I don't know, maybe the whole of Jackson would have come down on her for killing Ellie, but I doubt it. They didn't seem to care when Joel died. They didn't care, you know, that they injured Tommy. They didn't care that Jesse died. No one seems to really care about hunting Abby down from Jackson, you know. Even though Maria, the leader of Jackson, that controls whatever force they might have, doesn't seem to care about bringing all these people that she's clearly close to Jesse. She's obviously close to Joel because of Tommy. She's close to Ellie because of Joel and Tommy. So why would, the moment Joel died, why wouldn't Maria get an army together quick? Because Tommy should have even, like, I'm surprised Tommy wanted to just go out on his own. Maybe, I mean, I could buy it that he doesn't want to get anybody else hurt or whatever, but I feel like Tommy, you know, he's the queen. He's the second in command. So why can't he, you know, be like, Maria, we're getting a fucking army together to avenge Joel. Like, I don't care. I'm getting an army together to avenge Joel. You got all these people in Jackson. I don't know. Maybe it's a selfish thing. I don't know. I guess he wouldn't do that because he wouldn't be selfish. But then later on in the end of the game, he's absolutely ready to force Ellie to take revenge on his behalf. Ellie, injured PTSD Ellie. So maybe that's why him and Maria broke up, because he might have been forcing Maria to get an army together, and Maria didn't want to do that. So understandably, he thought, "Fuck you, bitch," like, you know. But it sounds like she broke up with him. But anyway, I'm talking about it like I'm trying to. Anyway, this game is mad. This game is mad. What else? What else? So I've completely lost what I was talking about now. Yeah, Abby killing Dina probably should have happened. Then no one will come after Abby. But then again, I don't know if I've understood buying Abby. Like, the whole point of Abby's whole storyline was that she learnt the cycle of revenge is bad, right? So then she's literally gone all that way with Lev to get revenge. She's pissed that Owen and Mel died, but what did she think was going to happen? Like, a lot of things just don't make sense. It's a very jumbled mess. There's a good story in there. The plot is interesting. The characterizations, some of the dialogue, and the structure failed. But the things that I really loved, the gameplay of fighting Ellie, I love the idea of seeing Ellie like in the third, fourth person, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, the game is third person, but I mean, like, seeing Ellie being controlled by the computer and trying to outsmart her, it was like, that was fun. I liked the flashbacks with Joel and Ellie. I liked that, those were really emotional. Obviously, the museum one, everyone talks about that one. I love the one where Ellie goes to the Fireflies base and discovers that Joel was lying. I love the flashback, especially this one made me tear up. Like, my eyes getting watery just thinking about it. Like, Ellie saying that she'll try and forgive Joel, and Joel just doubling down and saying, if I had a chance to do it again, I would. Like, I don't even do it justice. I don't know how. The way he said it though, and he looked at her like, I would, bitch. What are you gonna say about it? Like, no matter how much heartbreak he's going through, Joel's just like, I'll do that shit all over again, mommy. You know? And Ellie's just like, shit, man. Alright, well, I'll try and forgive you, you know? You know, like, so, and then Joel's like, I'd like that. And I was just like, that fucked me up. That bit was good. That bit fixed a lot for me. I was going to rate this shit like a 4, 5, but that brought up to a 6. It brought the whole game up to a 6 for me, man. That bit got me. Yeah, that ending was amazing. So all of Joel, basically every scene Joel is in, he ate up the whole screen. So that made me hate Joel's death a little bit more now that we're never going to have Joel again. But yeah, Last of Us 3, I have no interest in it now. Like, I just don't. I feel like this should have been Last of Us 3. This should have been fucking Last of Us 3, man. And Last of Us Part 2 should have been, see Ellie going to the Fireflies, you know, finding out all that stuff. That should have been like the mid-game of Last of Us 2. We should have played as Abby in Last of Us 2. And the ending of Last of Us 2 should have been Joel saving Ellie again, like Last of Us 1. And that would have brought us full circle for Last of Us 3. Like, maybe not even make it clear whose father that was. I don't know. Because you want to see that, you still want to... I feel like Neil Druckmann fucked up the structure of this just to have the shocking death of Joel right at the beginning of the game, which wasn't worth it. If I have another problem with Joel's death, if I have to add something to Joel's death, as I'm talking about this, I'm slowly having more problems with Joel's death, but not like silly things like he didn't deserve to go out like that, or that wouldn't happen. Joel's smarter than that. No. I'm starting to have problems with Joel's death because of what it caught, because of the placement of it and the structure of the rest of the story. You know, I already said that anyway. Like, Joel's death is only bad when it relates to Abby. You know, that's the problem with Joel's death. But yeah, like, it would have been so much more powerful. The whole game should have been like the flashbacks and Ellie and Joel falling apart, and yeah, you get the picture. I don't need to go into it. Right, that's how I felt about this story. I guess that's kind of done now. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. If there's, I might do like a live stream of this, like a live stream review of this, so we can all talk together or something. Let me know in the comments if you think that would be a good idea. The video's not done yet. I still need to talk about some certain problems with the game itself. Now, the gameplay is cool, is heavy. I've already said the graphics are amazing, the details are amazing, but the game did something really interesting. At the start of the game, it opened up. Like, you could travel around and search for things, and, you know, like, there was a map. It was a little bit semi-open world. Maybe the whole game should have been like that. Gave you a bit more agency. It punishes you if you miss certain things. It rewards you if you look around. Like, I get Ellie's plot was very maybe Abby's gameplay should have been more open world, since she's already done her revenge and she's just like discovering the world with us. Maybe Abby's gameplay should have been open world and Ellie's gameplay should have been more linear or something. I don't know. They could have done something creative like that. But yeah, they didn't really do anything very creative or innovative with this game. It's very similar to the first gameplay. The only new thing is literally just going prone and some other little different animations and stuff. Obviously Ellie can use her knife all the time, but she could do that in the last game. Like, there's barely any puzzles. Like, this game had the opportunity to have, like, you could have had like really cool contextual, you know, puzzles and stuff like that. It had a couple here to get to special rooms, but it needed a lot more, I feel. The music was amazing though. The music was really good, like when in fighting scenes and stuff like that. Music, oof. Like when Ellie is fighting Abby at the end and that music's playing, that fight scene is top tier. Like, the amount of the story behind it or whatever, them, you know, Ellie being all like kind of malnourished and like tired and injured, Abby being all malnourished and sunburned and lost all her muscles and her hair's all short. She looks actually kind of cool with her structured face rather than the fat all around, the muscle and fat that she has around her face when she's normal. Like, she actually looks cooler with her cut face, and they're all like, dun, the music comes. Like, that fight scene was one of the best. Like, I'll give it to Neil Druckmann, best female fight scene in any game, right? Like he's doing it for the females. I ain't gonna lie. Like, there's a lot of female characters that are forced down our throats, but Abby and Ellie, they're pretty good. They're alright. You know, like they're even in the world they're in and what they're doing. They pushing believable. They're pushing believable, and it works. But yeah, the gameplay could have been a lot more interesting. Just have more openness. Give us more freedom, you know. I know Naughty Dog games aren't about that. They're very set piecey. But it'll be very interesting to see a Last of Us graphics and gameplay in a more semi-open world scenario. But anyway, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. That's my thoughts of this. Very conflicted. Overall, I think I'll give the game a 6 out of 10. Or, yeah, it's no, 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 because the story, while it had a lot of flaws, I appreciate what Neil Druckmann was trying to do. There was a bit of SJW agenda in this. I'm not even talking about Lev. I'm talking about like the overabundance of female soldiers and all this kind of stuff that just don't. I don't know if it'll be like that in a post-apocalyptic world, man. Like I'm happy with female soldiers, but there's more. There was if you ratio, it just seemed like unbelievable to me. Like, and I thought the Rattlers were these rapist gang, and I saw women in their group. I was like, oh, okay, they're not rape, they're slavers. I think I preferred that because I couldn't handle having a rapist gang at the end. It's just too much, man. It's just too much darkness, you know. I'm glad they were just slave traders or slave owners or whatever. I know that that's any better. That's pretty bad as well. But at least they didn't do it by race, eh? I don't know. Yeah, but a lot of shit is bad in this game. Yeah, but I'll give it to Neil Druckmann for having a cruel, dark, gritty world. Like, I was watching the Critical Drinkers review, and he said it like he's one of the most anti-SJW critical reviewers on YouTube, and even he gave Neil Druckmann props for being able to tell such a dark, gritty story in this climate we're in, where everything's all roses and nice, you know. He wasn't afraid to show like women killing women, fighting women. He wasn't like, if you're gonna have women in there, they're gonna do the fucked up shit. You can't protect them, which is why I hated that criticism of Lev's storyline from some people in the LGBT community. They said that they didn't like Lev being dead named, and dead naming is when you call a trans person by their birth name or the name they were given to their biological, you know, to their biological sex. You know, everyone was calling Lev Lily. You know, there's Lily. You know, there's dead naming him. And that was a big like issue of some people in the trans community, and I was like, shut the fuck up, man. And you know how many fucking times I had to deal with the word nigger in films, you know? How many times they've said the word nigger in films? You don't see black people complaining that they're going to say the word nigger in slave films, you know? So don't come to me with this dead naming bullshit, man. It's supposed to show you that these people are arseholes. They don't give a fuck about Lev. They don't give a fuck about his transgender. They hate it. That's why he's been out. That's the whole point of his story. So why the fuck wouldn't they dead name him? It doesn't make any sense to complain about something like that. It's supposed to be realistic, and that's what I mean. Like, I'd hope Neil Druckmann doesn't read criticism like that and think, oh, you know what, next time I won't do that. No, that's the whole point of your story. If you're going to have the trans issues, then you're going to show the bad side. You're going to show how people are being horrible. How are you going to show how bad it is if you can't show people being bad to Lev? It doesn't make sense. But anyway, I'm not going to go too much on tangent on that. But yeah, I appreciate what he tried to do with the story. I appreciate the darkness of it. I'm glad that even though he had an overabundance of these kind of characters, these SJW-ish characters, that he didn't force it down your throat and he like paced it out, at least those storylines, quite well, and he didn't go, like, you had Abby, this super muscular, you know, typical strong woman or whatever people say, strong woman, a female character, but she's not in your face with it. Like, when she wants to rip open fences and she doesn't say, get out of the way, let a woman do it. I mean, there is one line where she's like, what's his fucking name? Where Manny says, ladies first, and then Abby says, go on then, or something like. But that's just funny. That's nothing. So anyway, there's no scenes where Abby's like exclaiming that she's a powerful, strong woman, like in Star Wars or something, where she was like, don't hold my hand, let go of my hand. There's no stupid scenes like that. And Abby just does what she needs to do, and I appreciated that. If Neil's going to have these kind of characters, Ellie as well, like, there's no, I mean, apart from the Bigot Sandwich, there's like that one scene, but apart from Bigot Sandwich, there's no other scene about people hating lesbianism and all this kind of shit, or Ellie being a girl, and there's nothing about that. They just got on with it and told the story. That's how it should be. This is what I've always said, like, I don't mind LGBT characters, I don't mind female characters, I don't mind any kind of POC character or anything. I'm black myself, I'm POC myself, even though I don't like the term POC. But anyway, I don't mind these characters in fiction as long as you just tell their story and just do it. Don't pat yourselves on the back for it. Don't ask for any virtual signaling. Don't virtual signal yourself. Just tell their story and make sure it's good. That's all I ask for. It wasn't this time. It wasn't great. It wasn't good. But I don't think it was SJW reasons. I think it was just Neil Druckmann just kind of was overwhelmed. He overdid it. He probably thought about it too much. Sometimes when you do that, you know, and he tried to subvert expectations and things like that. It just didn't work, you know. He failed himself, you know. And I just feel like there was a lot of potential there, but it was still decent. I could play it again, not anytime soon. It's made me not look forward to Last of Us 3 with all the characters that are gone. This should have been Last of Us 3, but I still feel like it was a daring game and it has a lot of good in it, even in the story. It's just structured poorly and it could have been a lot better. But anyway, that's my review of The Last of Us Part 2. Probably one of the most exhausting reviews I've ever done, just like the game was fucking exhausting. And that's probably partially why I like it. It really beats you, the game beats you up emotionally, especially if you play in like 2 or 3, like 1 or 2 sittings. It beats you up, the game, and in some ways that was kind of good, you know. But anyway, that's my review. Hope you liked it. Give us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for notifications, and I'll see you guys again. Peace.